So welcome back. It's a lovely day. It's Saturday here today, the 29th of June. Temperature we're looking at about 18 degrees. So today I'm just out for a little run. I'm going up to Lockerbie and we'll see where that takes us from there. So last video you had my very poor attempt at what I thought of the BMW N900 XR. Now I did plan to do a slightly better review of that bike, but I really didn't like it, and as I went out, in fact you can actually hear it on the video, my phone rang and I didn't obviously realise until I had stopped and looked at my phone, and that was, I had stopped to do a walk round video of the bike, but the phone call was to say that Rosanante was ready, and quite frankly I couldn't wait to get her back because I really didn't like the N900. So it was a very poor attempt at a review, and I'm sorry about that, but I really didn't like the bike. The screen was far too noisy and it wasn't fast enough. So that's a summary. Where are you going, young man? That's fine. So as I said, today we're going to head up to Lockerbie. Now Lockerbie is unfortunately famous for bad things. It was obviously the site of the Pan Am crash. Back quite a number of years ago now, I can't remember. That resulted in, unfortunately, the death of the entire passenger list. Pilots, flight crew, and a number of local people who were just minding their own business in their house. And quite rightly it caused outrage. So we'll take a trip. You can see what Lockerbie is like. There is a memorial garden. I don't really want to go in and film in there. It feels disrespectful from my point of view. So there is a memorial garden for all the victims of that disaster, and yeah, it's nice. It's a peaceful, reflective space, and I don't think filming would be appropriate. Oofed. So there's quite a lot of bikes out today, which is good. There's also quite a lot of dressed up people and quite a lot of children. We have a thing every year in Dumfries called Youth Beats, which is music and entertainment for the kids, and a terrific thing, well attended, kids love it, and yeah, it's a fabulous thing. So that's on the go today, which is why we've got quite so many people going about. My son is at his granny's today. My wife will collect him later on today, and then tomorrow he'll be going across to the Youth Beats field as well. So this is Lochmaben. It is very nice. That's Lochmaben on your left. I don't know if you can see it. But yeah, nice little place. Ooh. Come on then, turn the corner. What are you doing? Oh dear, right, anyway, that's us out of Lochmaben. So we've got a slightly different camera angle from the front. What was my chin mount is now a neck mount. I decided I was going to try that because, as I've mentioned previously, I don't like the extra weight that the camera adds to the front of my helmet. So I'm going to try a neck mount and see how that goes. Normally my view you would get is from the wing mirror, and that's my preferred view, but we'll give this a bash and see how it goes. It wasn't terribly expensive, so it's worth a try. I'm also using my other helmet, so I've got I normally use a BMW flip front helmet, and I've got a full shell helmet, and I'm using that at the moment just to see if that helps with the wind noise on the microphone. It's quite windy today, so that'll give the microphone a good test, or the helmet rather, a good test. Okay. It is nice to be back on my own bike. I really didn't like that courtesy bike that I had. I was supposed to get a new GS, but apparently it had developed a drivetrain noise. The guy that had it previous to me had complained about a drivetrain noise, so they took it off the road, which is why I ended up with the N900. So yeah, my review in inverted commas actually got the biggest viewing figures that I've ever achieved. Now I don't achieve big viewing figures. I'm not doing this to gain subscriptions and all that kind of thing. I simply just want to do this for my own benefit. My riding days are, I wouldn't say numbered, but I have less riding days in front of me than I did behind me, and what I want to do is have a record of some of my trips out, and for the future when I have to stop riding. The reason I will have to stop riding eventually is because I'm getting on a bit. I have some chronic illnesses which will limit me. Someone actually sent me a message saying, you ride quite a lot with only one hand on the handlebars, and that's certainly true, I do. The facetious answer to that would be, well, do you drive with two hands on the steering wheel all the time? But the real answer is I suffer from carpal tunnel syndrome in my left hand, so if I keep it in the one position for too long, my finger kind of goes like that, and it's extremely painful and really difficult to move. So I find myself doing this, and that helps lubricate it, I suppose, or loosen it off. But one thing I would say to people who perhaps suffer from carpal tunnel syndrome and are motorcyclists is, I have grip puppies on the handlebars, and I got them because, firstly, a little bit more grip and something a bit wider to hold on to. Secondly, those of you who have experienced GSs of this era are aware that the heated grips have two temperatures, the first of which is really hot, and the second of which is molten lava. So the grip puppies insulate you slightly from that. The hand guards that I've got, along with the heated grips, mean that I ride with summer gloves all year long. Don't need winter gloves. So anyway, the grip puppies are fantastic for what I bought them for. However, they have an added advantage in that they have reduced significantly the carpal tunnel lockups, as I call them, from happening when I'm riding this bike. I wasn't aware of the fact until I went to ride that N900, which obviously didn't have grip puppies on, so it's a much narrower hand grip, and I found my finger was locking up much more frequently. So grip puppies, kudos to you guys. They've got hidden benefits. You could have been away, mister. Right. So this is going to be the road to Ecclefechan. I don't think I've taken you down this road before. I don't think I've been down it very often myself before, but it'll be the B7076 to Ecclefechan. So the councils seem to be going mad on the roadworks, pothole repairs, and not before time. The potholes have been pretty hellish right across the country. Unfortunately, two of my kind of favourite little blast roads that I take, that's the road down to Dalbeattie and the road down to Castle Douglas. They've gone and put loose chippings down on both of those roads, so for essentially that's going to mean that that's going to be out of action for the next few weeks for motorcyclists, because I don't fancy riding on marbles. I really don't like loose chippings. My brother went for a trip up north a few years ago now, and he wanted to do the Cockbridge to Tomintoul Road, which I'm sure you've heard of. It's always on the news in the winter time when we have snowfall. It's the first road that gets closed when there's snow, and so he decided he wanted to ride this road because it was apparently quite nice. So he travelled all the way up there, had done other things as well, and then when he got on the road it was loose chippings the whole way. He did about 10 or 15 miles an hour the whole journey. He was quite disappointed in it. So yeah, luck of the draw, I guess. Oh, I'm going to have to open this again, sorry about this. Itchy nose. Hay fever season. So I don't know anything special about the village of Ecclefechan. It's known locally just as Fechan. It's yeah, nothing particular about it other than it's got a funny name. There we are. Come back down. We don't need to go quite so fast, but you get fed up looking at the back of the same car all the time. So I was watching loose chippings here as well. You've got to be joking me. Everywhere you go. So this is Ecclefechan, or Fechan as it's known locally. Don't think there's much in it, but we'll take a trip through two big sandstone churches. Yeah, pleasant enough wee place. Underneath the motorway. Right, so I've achieved my ambition of getting to Ecclefechan, which is a lot closer than I thought it was. So, absolutely no clue where this road's going to take me now. This is very pleasant. This is a very good road. You could blast along this if you had the notion. Oh, right, okay. Eaglesfield and Annan. Let's try that. Go along the road with absolutely no purpose in mind. Oh, right, what do I want to do here? I think we'll go to Annan and Bridekirk. Bridekirk. I'm not noticing any difference at all since they've changed my drive shaft. There wasn't much slop, I think, in the old drive shaft, so the replacement hasn't seemed to do anything at all. But it's done now, so I'm good for another 36,000 miles. Well, the bike's good for another 36,000 miles, whether I am or not is another matter. But yeah, it didn't take them terribly long to do, so that was good. Just a little disappointing not to get the new GS as a courtesy bike. As I said, I don't do this for subscriptions or likes or anything like that. I do it for myself, and if somebody else enjoys it, that's fine. I think when you're looking to monetize things and perhaps obtain an income, then you have to find a formula that people want. And my reasons for not looking for the subscriptions and doing what other people want is because I want to do what I want to do. If you're interested, great. If you're not interested, then that's fine too, because we're all different, we're all individuals, and we all have our own tastes. A lot of cones on the road, different type of cones to what we're used to. the beaten track, but camper vans can still find their way. So we have the holiday season upon us now, and already we're seeing the massive increase in camper vans and the trouble that some of them cause. Now, I'm not going to be too disparaging about all camper van owners, because they're not all the same and not all bad, but the one that I saw most recently was the up at the North Coast 500. There was a campsite available with plenty of spaces, but 14 camper vans, would you believe, decided to spend a night in the school car park. And obviously we're still there in the morning when the kids were all coming to school and teachers were trying to park, and school run mums and dads were dropping off their children. I mean, how self-centered do you have to be to do something like that? Complete ignorance. I have a friend, and I've mentioned before that my parents have a caravan. It's not a static caravan, it's a touring caravan. It's quite big, but they're too old now to tow it about the place, so it sits permanently on a caravan site. It's a place called Aberlady, a lovely little place, really nice. In fact, I'm going to take the wee man up there in the not too distant future so that we can go to the Jim Clark Museum at Duns. But the fellow that owns the site is a guy called Andrew. Runs a very nice little site, he does, and he every single, I would say almost daily, certainly 2 or 3 times a week, has people in camper vans coming to him. They've not spent the night, they've not paid him any money to stay the night, but they come and expect him to allow them to empty their chemical toilets and fill their water containers for free. And some of them are actually very abusive when he tells them to go forth and multiply, and it's just ridiculous. If you want to use the facilities, that's what you're actually paying for. You're paying for the showers, you're paying for the water, you're paying for your disposal, waste disposal. So yeah, it just gives you an impression of how some people are. I don't think even as far as sites go, caravan sites go, is particularly expensive. But anyway, no doubt when I get stuck behind the next one I'll have another little rant about camper vans. Isn't this a lovely little place? It's a good job it's not smell-o-vision, because we've had some slurry spraying on the fields. It's pretty strong, I can just about taste it. So we've got a caution sign for red squirrels. There we go. Nice to see that there are still some of them about. Right, this is Kettleholm. And allegedly it's a 40, but I expect to see 20-mile-an-hour signs somewhere. little place, not much to it. Must be a school. Can't be a very big school. So I had a little stop there at the Garden of Remembrance for the Lockerbie bombing, because that's what it was, to pay my respects to people who, let's face it, there's no other way to put it than they are victims of war, victims of conflict, and I think it's important that we remember and pay our respects. So as I said before, I don't think it's altogether appropriate to have filmed in that area. I just think it's a matter of respect. So take it from a former soldier, there is no glory in war. War is caused by greed, pure and simple, whether that be greed for power, greed for money, greed for influence. That's all it is. It's caused by politicians or religious leaders, and it's unfortunately the innocents that suffer.